you don't come back with me, I'm gonna have to write young Fred and tell him that unless he wants to look out for himself, he better sign up for another hitch.
Doc, don't you do that. Don't you write that to him. I'll write to him myself and tell him I want him here with me. I'll take care of him, don't you worry.
You're talking crazy, Lula May.
Doc, stop calling me that. I'm not Lula May anymore.
Marvin had at one time been an actor and had impressed the producers of Breakfast at Tiffany's with his casting suggestions of small roles in the film.
Keep an eye on her, will you, son? At least see she eats something once in a while.
They subsequently hired him as a casting director. According to actor Edward Ashely, prior to becoming a casting director, Marvin produced a talk show in New York where celebrities were interviewed.
It was called Luncheon at Sardi's. Ray Heatherton, who was Joey Heatherton's father, was the master of ceremonies, and I was producing the series. Sometimes I'd walk down into the restaurant and find some people that were leaving, maybe to a film in Africa, a film here, and we would sometimes get them up after the show and do a tape with them. It was a highly rated show. It was one of the top rated shows through that period. I had worked in theater. I'd done some acting as a kid. I'd been involved in various phases of theater, and the production company that I was working with in New York moved out here. I later moved out after the commitment with the Sardi show wound up, and by then they had started doing a series of low-budget pilots. The original Night Court, a series called Conventional Investigator, another show called Police Station. Yeah. A lot of actors were coming out from New York at that point, all looking for film. And I was asked to take the show over because I was so familiar with both actors here and actors in New York who were coming out. And on some of those shows, I had people like Diane Ladd, Ronnie Howard, who was just a kid at the time, wanted to come in and direct the show, I think, at that point, just as well. The late Vic Tayback, a number of other people that I've since used on other shows.
Among the feature films Marvin cast were Woody Allen's Take the Money and Run.
Please put $50,000 into this bag and act natural. What's act?
Act.
Does this look like gub or gun?
Everything you wanted to know about sex, but
Gun.
were afraid
See?
to ask.
But what's act mean?
It's act, A-C-T, act natural.
Star Trek, the motion picture. The Revengers, starring William Holden. And Mae West's last movie, the zany Sextet.
Arnold, do your fans like you better single or married?
Oh, they like me any way they can get me.
And in 2008, Jump, which included Patrick Swayze's last film role.
With this trial, I will make them pay for what they have done.
For years, Paige served as casting director on television's popular soap General Hospital. Among the many actors he cast in the show were Ann Jeffries and Demi Moore. Marvin also cast Planet of the Apes for 20th Century Fox and Combat, the hit television show that was made at MGM.
I got them to let me get a hold of Louise Reiner, who I felt was vital to the show, being one of the top stars of MGM in the 30s.
Louise Reiner won 2 Academy Awards back-to-back for Best Actress. In 1936 for her role as Anna Held in The Great Ziegfeld, and in 1937 for her role in Pearl Buck's The Good Earth.
She had left MGM around 1939 after, I guess, some fights with Louis B. Mayer and some disagreements, and she just wanted away from the movie business. And I was doing Combat out here at MGM.
All right, Crowns!
I was casting the series and saw one show that came up involving a countess who could or could not have been a collaborator living in a big villa. It was out of the trenches for change. And I said, you know, there's only one person I would like for this if they'll allow me to go after her. I tracked Louise down in Europe. She was living in London, but at that point she was climbing the Dolomite Mountains with her husband.
Marvin Paige may have the most extensive collection of MGM movie memorabilia of any private collector on the planet. It is hoped that this collection will be inherited by the Motion Picture Academy.
I think MGM is one of the top studios of all time. They had a certain look and a certain quality to the way they built their stars.
In addition to his casting, Marvin helped with many events honoring Hollywood. When the Screen Actors Guild produced the pilot for their Legacy series with Henry Fonda being interviewed by Charlton Heston, Marvin provided photos from Fonda's films from 20th Century Fox. In Palm Springs, he produced the Film Noir Film Festival every July, honoring stars like Kevin McCarthy for his roles in Drive a Crooked Road and Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
And I'd like to welcome you all here to Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Marvin was instrumental in obtaining stars like Mickey Rooney, Ann Rutherford, Lily Tomlin, and Carl Reiner.
The Dick Van Dyke Show is about a guy who writes a television show and lives into a show. Most of the things I write about end up being something about show business.
Well, all of me doesn't qualify.
I didn't write it.
Oh.
As well as Daniel Selznick and Bud Schulberg here with Ben Stiller for the star-studded Backlot Film Festivals. Before his passing, Marvin was working on the Eagle and the Badge Gala honoring SAG-AFTRA president Ken Howard. Marvin will be missed by our community.